the only thing that I could be possibly interested in. I'm not. I hated it with a burning passion. Like, there's no redemption from this. Nothing can be worse than this book. If I had to like actually read this book, it would take me a month or more because I would probably be in a reading slump and never read ever again in my life. I don't care at all. Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog where I'm gonna be reading 4 romance books. So I've been doing this video every year, once a year since I started my channel around Valentine's Day, where I read romance books because I don't read romance books otherwise. I don't really like the genre. And so I last year asked my best friend to choose the books for me to read because she is like a huge romance reader. So, she could just give me books that she wanted me to read and I wouldn't have to choose them myself. Because I do have like a lot of romance books like on my radar because a lot of the people that I follow do read romance. So like I know of a lot of romance books, but I wanted like her books, the books that she wanted me to read. And so yeah, this year I also asked her to give me some books for me to read. And she was very happy to do so. And we had like 2 contemporary, 2 fantasy-ish. One was like magical realism, the other was more fantasy. And the other times that I did this video, I did them spoiler-free. But like starting off with the first book, there was like things that I needed to talk about. Like I needed to get them off my chest and I needed to get into spoilers. So this video has spoilers, but I have like all of the books timestamped. So if you want to like not hear spoilers for a particular book, you can skip to books that you either have read or don't care about spoilers. So yeah, this was definitely an experience, as it always is whenever I read romance. And yeah, let's just get into the video. Okay, so I am halfway through the first book, which is called Blood and Sin, and this is like a fantasy romantasy. I don't really know what the difference is, but this has like romance and it has fantasy, but it's mostly romance. So whichever one that is. And we are following Lana, who is an Infernarus. I don't really know how to say that, but basically, I guess that's a demon. That's at least like what the other character, Asher, calls them because he's a demon hunter. And he is actually, in the beginning of the book, he has like a demon with him that he has like kidnapped, and he is destroying a portal that can like bring them from Earth to Hell, which they call abysses. And so he's destroying one of those portals, and actually Lana, like, she is in Earth because she is trying to gather blood to save her people because her people seem to be dying, and she actually finds Asher and that other Infernarus that he has, and she helps that other guy, and then Asher catches her and he takes her, like he kidnaps her and takes her to his house, and he really wants to kill her. Like he hates all demons because apparently they have caused like his wife and daughter's death like 2 years ago, and so like he hates all demons, he really wants to kill them all, but he literally says, wait, I wrote it down. She was no ordinary demon. Like, he literally says she's not like other demons. And so, there's something about her, which is basically that she's hot. She looks like a, human woman that is hot. I guess that's what is about her. And also, she's not, like, evil, I guess. Like, she's a healer, and she is, like, naive and not evil, I guess. So he doesn't want to kill her, actually. I mean, he has her there, like, at his house, and he says that he wants to kill her. He says that he will kill her, but he has, in fact, not killed her. And then he calls, like, his friend that I guess used to be a hunter with him. And then there is, like, another Infernarus that comes to, like, after them because he's, like, a very famous, I guess, demon hunter. Like, the other demons, they know about him. And so I guess they now know that he maybe destroyed their portal, one of their portals. And so one of them goes there to his house, and they actually kill his friend. Oh, and before that, there was like the only scene that I thought was kind of funny because like Lana can kind of shapeshift, and so she shapeshifted into Asher's friend and was like trying to pretend to be him to trick Asher. And that lasted for like 1 or 2 pages, but I thought that was actually the only funny thing that happened so far. And then, yeah, the other demon comes. He actually kills Asher's friend, and then he was gonna like destroy the house, like burn it down. And Asher was running away, but like Lana was there, and he decided to go back and save her because, hear me out, because he said that if he was going to die, and he was pretty sure he was going to die that day for some reason, and if he was going to die, although he was already out, but if he was going to die, he might as well die doing something selfless. And that something selfless being saving the one being that he wanted to kill. So yeah, he decides to go back and save her. And I mean, I get it. Like, enemies to lovers, absolutely get it. If they, spend time getting to know each other, like they might, get to know each other and eventually fall in love. I absolutely understand that. But he has known her for one day. One day. Like, why would you want to save the being that you absolutely hate and want to kill? Like, why do you want that to be your selfless act? So yeah, he goes back and saves her, and since he saved her, she's now like oath bound to protect him. And so they are now like on a road trip going to another portal because like he wants to destroy the portals and she wants to use the portal to go back home, and she actually like wants him to go to Abyssus with her to see the place because she thinks that if he sees a place he will magically change and he will like not want to kill demons anymore. And so they are like on this road trip, and they actually like go to New Orleans first because she needs to get to someone that can like help her access the memory of where the portal is because she doesn't have that memory anymore. And honestly, like when they were going to New Orleans was the only time that I was like excited about something happening because I just love the vibe of New Orleans. I've never been there, but I really want to go. Actually, like I was talking about it with my mom, like on the day that I was reading this book, which was yesterday, like how I wanted to go to New Orleans. And then they went to New Orleans. So there was that. And they go to like meet the person that can help her access that memory. And honestly, that person that they visited was the only like character that I thought was really cool. And yeah, basically they are like being also followed by other demons because they want to kill him. And since she's bound to protect him, they now also kind of want to kill her because they kind of have no other choice. And now, like, the last thing that I read is that she wants to explore New Orleans because it seems really cool. And, like, I get it. But also, you're, like, running from death. So maybe don't. So, yeah, that's, like, where I'm at. And I don't know if you can tell. You probably can. I'm not enjoying it. And, like, I hate Asher so much. Like, I hate him so much. And not even, like, just the way he acts towards Lana. I just hate his personality. Like, I hate everything about him. I hate him so much. And Lana, like, at first, I thought she was okay. But now she has been annoying me, like, so much as well. Because, like, at first, she was just really, like, I don't know. She was really quiet, I guess. And now she's trying to be sassy. And she seems like a 10-year-old trying to be sassy. Which he did point out. But also, he himself also acts like he's 10. So I also hate, like, their interactions. So yeah, there's that. And in terms of like the fantasy part, there's really like no world building or like no explanation of like anything like magical or fantastical. We just accept that there are demons that exist and they're kind of dying, and that is it. So the only thing that I could be possibly interested in, I'm not, because they are not giving me enough of that. So yeah, going super well. I am not really liking anything about it. Like, I'm struggling. And I was, last night while I was reading it, I was, telling my friend all of this. And I was like, I'm struggling. And she's like, oh no, that was totally not the point. So, yay, she's having fun with my misery. So, yeah, that's it for now. I am, I think, 52% in. So I will finish it and I will be back with my thoughts, I guess. Okay, so I finished the book and I actually finished it last night. So I've had some time to process, which is a good thing, because if I had filmed this after I finished reading the book, this would be just some like incoherent screaming because I hated it. I hated it with a burning passion. this might be the book that I've hated. I mean, not mine. This is probably the book that I hated the most in my life. So I'm angry. And like the first half, I was like hating it, like in a funny way, like I was having fun commenting with my bestie, like what I was thinking about it, like, it was okay. Like I wasn't liking the book, but it was like still fun to like comment with her. So, it wasn't a terrible experience. And then the second half, like most of the second half, I was like honestly kind of bored. I didn't even have like the funny comments to make with her. I was just bored until we got to the ending. And that ending was the most horrible thing I've ever read. So let's start at what happened, after the halfway point. So basically they were like starting to explore New Orleans, which was honestly like the only thing that I enjoyed was like the vibes of New Orleans. And then Lana, like the people, like the person that she went to visit, wouldn't give her the memories that she wanted. So she decided to like take some sort of potion and get the memories herself. And so like she knew where the portal was, and she got Asher, and they like went back on their road trip, and then they were being like followed by demons and other demons, and they were trying to escape and survive and whatever. And like at some point, like she got sick, and then he got injured, and then they got over it. And in the meantime, she was like madly in love with him somehow, because honestly I hated everything about him, like from the beginning, even before we got to what happened at the ending. Like I hated him from page 1, and there was no point in the book where I stopped hating him. So like honestly, I couldn't tell you what she saw in him. And he also said that he was in love with her, and like in his internal monologue, like in his thoughts, he just kept thinking, like he was debating on whether he would actually be with her, or if he would betray her and still kill all of her people. And then they get to the portal, and they get to Abyssus, and like things happen. And since she's a healer, she is like actually connected to every single one of the other demons, like through her blood. So he actually poisons her, so he will kill everyone. So like after she was like pleading with the other demons to let him live, because he was like such a changed person, and he had promised, like he had made an oath, and like she as an Infernaris, like she can't lie, like they can't lie. So somehow she thought that he was telling the truth as well, and that his oath was like he was gonna keep it. And she was pleading, she was being like, he's such a changed man, like he will not hurt anyone. And then he himself like made the oath to not hurt any of them. And she said that like it was her mate because they mate for life. So he was her mate, and she was like, he's great, he's fantastic, he will not hurt us. And then he like poisons her to kill all of them. And I was just like, what the actual fuck is this? And like I didn't even want them together. I didn't even care about the romance, and I was pissed, because this was like, there's no redemption from this, like how do you come back from that? And then like the woman from New Orleans actually gets there somehow and saves the day. So like they didn't actually die, but he wanted them to die. And like I know that like this is the first book in the series, and I know that the next book will surely be like his redemption. And like there is no redemption. Like what are you talking about? There's no redemption for what he did. And so like I hated it. I really hated it. I hated everything. Like I hated Asher, like I said, from the beginning. He had literally no redeeming qualities. And like when we got to the end, like he like literally not a single redeeming quality. And like Lana in the beginning, like she was okay, but then she was too much of an idiot like throughout the entire book for me not to hate her as well. And like yeah, I hated everything. Like I don't think I've ever been this angry at a book ever. So yeah, like before the ending, I was thinking of giving it 2 stars, because like I wasn't enjoying it, but like whatever. But like after this ending, 1 star. Like if I could give it 0 stars, I would give it 0 stars. And then I was telling this to my best friend, like ranting about this book, and she was like, yeah, I chose this book for you so you would hate it, because I hated it and I didn't want to hate it alone. And also the books that she gave me last year didn't get like a strong enough reaction from me. So she chose this one to get a strong reaction from me. So she chose this for me to hate. Like, she wanted me to hate this book. That's the only reason why she gave me this book to read. And I did hate it. I guess I hate her now too. I was so pissed. And like, the thing is, I don't even like romance. Like, I didn't care about them being together, and I was still so pissed. Like, if I actually cared about romance, like about them possibly ending up together, like, I think I would be even more pissed. So, yeah, I hated it. But I guess you can only go up from here, right? Nothing can be worse than this book, I don't think. I haven't read many romance books, admittedly, but I've never read one that I like hated nearly as much as this one. Usually I'm just like, I don't care. In this one, I'm seething with hate. So surely we can only go up from here, hopefully. And now, breathing, calming down, the next book that I'm gonna be reading is actually Mile High, which is a contemporary romance. And like, I'm kind of scared about it only because it's so long. It's such a long book, like, especially for a romance. So I think I'm gonna be really bored, especially because it's contemporary. So there's not gonna be like, I mean, this one was fantasy supposedly, but like the fantasy part was as horrible as the romance because there was like no world building, there was no explanation about anything. So it's not like I had anything to care about in terms of the fantasy side either. But yeah, that one is gonna be just contemporary. So I know it's just gonna be the romance for hundreds of pages, which I am scared about. But I mean, bored is better than whatever this first book was. So yeah, I'm gonna read half of that book and I will be back. Hopefully I will have calmed down. I will be chill, maybe bored, but chill. So, I am halfway through Mile High, and this update will definitely not be as emotional as the last one because honestly, like, I'm not feeling much about this book or anything really. And so basically in this one we are following Xanders and Stevie. And Xanders is like, he plays hockey in like a pretty famous team, I think. And they are like, as they play the various games and go from like city to city, they, fly to the other locations. And so Stevie is part of the like crew of the airplane, like she's a flight attendant. And the story is about the two of them, and like he has like this reputation of being a fuckboy, and for some reason he has to maintain it, which like I don't really get. Like, if he stops like being that, or seeming to be that person, he thinks that they won't like want him on the team anymore, which doesn't make any sense to me, but that's besides the point. So he, has that reputation, but he's very hot, apparently. And so Stevie is very into him, and he's also very into her. And so they decide to have like a one night stand, but now he's like falling in love, and she's also kind of falling in love, like kind of scared to fall in love because of his reputation, and like he's still trying to get her, and like he's kind of like showing his true self, I guess. And like, I don't care. And also, like, this is so long. This is incredibly long. Like, I am listening to the audiobook because if I had to like actually read this book, it would take me a month or more, because I would probably be in a reading slump and never read ever again in my life. Like, the audiobook is 17 hours long, which I think is absolutely crazy. I was gonna say another word, but I'm gonna not. And I do listen at 3 times speed, but that is still almost 6 hours. of a book that I don't care about. So that is going super well. And I definitely don't like him. And I guess like the point was to like get a first bad impression and then you would like him, but I still don't like him. Even knowing like his true self or whatever, I still don't like him. And like there's nothing about him that is attractive to me. And so there is that. I do like Stevie though. Like I don't love her. She's not like my new favorite character or anything, but I do like her. She's fine. She's okay. And there's been like we've had like a sex scene that was not it for me. Like this book, everything about this book is way too straight for me. So there's also that. And yeah, like it's fine. I don't hate it, but I definitely don't like it either. I'm just bored. I'm honestly just bored. And I still have half of it to go. I am gonna finish it. And I will probably give it 2 stars because that is what I'm feeling about it. Like, am I disliking it more than other books that I've given 2 stars to? Absolutely. Is it bad enough? Like, do I hate it enough to give it 1 star? Definitely not. Like, I've only given 1 star to Blood and Sin, and like in my heart, I've given 1 star to The Spanish Love Deception, but on Goodreads, I gave it 2 stars. And like, this is definitely not on that level. Like, I don't hate it. I just don't like it. So if it continues like this, which I assume it will, I will probably give it 2 stars. But yeah, that's all I had to say. Sadly, like I said, not a very, emotional update because I'm not feeling anything other than boredom, which is not, fun. It's not a fun feeling. Like anger is fun, more fun. Although like it sucks. It's more fun to like talk about a book that I'm hating than a book that I don't feel anything about. But yeah, I'm gonna finish it and I'll be back. Okay, so I have finished Mile High. I actually finished it last night, and I was like, this was a struggle to get through. And yesterday, like, I texted my friend, I was like, I'm gonna finish this book today, even if it kills me. And shockingly, actually, it didn't kill me, just barely, but I did finish it, and it was a struggle, and it was just so boring. Like, there was nothing happening that I was interested in because it was just like 600 pages of just romance, and there was like no other plot for me to be interested in. And yeah, it was definitely a huge struggle because like I didn't care at all about the romance. I didn't particularly like the guy, and I just, yeah, like there was nothing else. It was just so long just about the romance, and the third act conflict was, as they usually are, kind of ridiculous. And yeah, I was just really, really bored. So it was not a fun time for sure. I am gonna give it 2 stars. And like my friend actually didn't realize how long this book was when she told me to read it. And then when she did realize, she was like, oh fuck, you're screwed. You're gonna hate that. So yeah, I guess she knows me. And so yeah, we are now gonna move on to shorter, hopefully better things. And the next book I'm gonna read is The 7-Year Slip. And this one, like, I vaguely remember my friend talking about it when she was reading it. So like I have some ideas of like what she thought about it, but not too much. Honestly, I don't remember that much. I just remember some comments. And yeah, like the last 2 books, I'm actually kind of cautiously excited to read, especially the last one. This one, I'm just thinking that it will be better than the ones I've already read. Hopefully. At least it's shorter. Like, I'm not gonna be in Spain for as long as Mile High, so there is that. And so yeah, I'm gonna read half of that book and I will be back to update. Okay, so we are halfway through the 7-year slip, and we are following Clementine, and she has just moved, or she's like in the process of moving, kind of still, into her aunt's apartment after her aunt passed away. And she, like, her aunt had always told her when like she was a kid that the apartment was magical and that it could kind of like travel back in time, always 7 years, and that she had met someone that she fell in love with like in that apartment, but since she met like that person 7 years in the past, like it didn't end up working. And Clementine, one day, like after work, she finds a guy in the apartment. I mean, actually, I think it's in the morning that she sees the guy in the apartment. And at first, she's like, why is there a random person in my apartment? And then she starts to believe that the apartment is actually magical and that it can travel to the past and that she has traveled to the past. And there's this guy 7 years ago that was like staying in the apartment, while actually like 7 years ago Clementine and her aunt were traveling like at that exact time, and that is why the apartment was free for that guy to stay there, and like he had been told by Clementine's aunt that he could stay there. And first of all, like it was, I don't know if it was supposed to be like a big reveal, but it certainly wasn't, because it was obviously literally from the first chapter that that guy, like now in the present, is someone that she met in the first chapter, like a chef that she and her friends like went to a restaurant, and like the chef of that restaurant was obviously that guy, because he literally calls her Lemon in the first chapter, like when they meet, and then immediately when they meet like in the past in the apartment, he starts to call her Lemon as a nickname. So, you know, it's obviously him. And so, yeah, I don't know if that was supposed to be like a reveal, because that happened like towards the halfway point. But that was a thing that was obvious. And another thing that I think is pretty obvious is that that guy who's called Ewan, I think, he is the son of the woman that her aunt, like Clementine's aunt, fell in love with in the apartment. I think it's pretty obvious as well that like he's her son. So I don't know if that's supposed to be some big reveal as well. I think it probably is. But for me, that's pretty obvious. And you know, they were like, I guess, falling in love, which like I don't like the romance at all. And I mean, I was gonna say that it's not because I don't like romance, because I don't think this is romantic. But then again, most people that I've seen review this book like actually loved it. But my friend actually didn't love it either. So like I don't know, but like she fell in love in a weekend. She fell in love in 2 days. Like she was madly in love with a guy after 2 days, which is just no. No. And so I don't like the romance. And also like she's not really telling him like the truth, which I mean I get on the one hand, because like if someone told me that they're traveling to the past in a freaking apartment, I probably wouldn't believe them. So like I get that, but also she's just hiding that from him, which is not fun. And now they have like seen each other in the present, and obviously he remembers her from his past, which is her present. And I don't like the romance. I do, however, kind of like I do like the characters, I guess, especially Clementine. Ewan, I don't really have many feelings towards, but I do like Clementine, and she's on sort of a like self-discovery journey, I guess, which I'm enjoying somewhat. Like it's fine. Like the book is fine. I'm not hating it. I'm not loving it. It's fine. And yeah, I mean, so far it's the book that I'm enjoying the most, I guess, because it's fine and the other two weren't fine. So yeah, that's it for now. And yeah, I'm gonna finish it and I'll be back with my thoughts. Okay, so I finished the 7-year slip, And what I said was obviously gonna be the reveal was obviously the reveal. So Vera was in fact Ewan's mother, which, not a shocking revelation. And so basically, like in terms of the plot, what happened is that basically Clementine and Ewan, they, met again in the the present of like both of them, and he obviously remembered about her, and he remembered like the whole romance that they had in the past, which she still hadn't lived. And we knew that they have obviously like parted ways because they, were not together anymore. So, that was obvious. And in the past, like when she went to the past in the apartment, we were learning about what actually happened. And so in the present, he had a restaurant. He was a chef, and he was gonna open he was like a chef in a restaurant, and then he was gonna open his own restaurant. And Clementine knew like what kind of restaurant he wanted to open in the past. And so when the restaurant actually opened, it was nothing like what he had described. And so she thought that he was not really like going for his dream anymore. He was just doing what people wanted him to do. And he was like kind of offended that she said that. And then she realized that, for her, it was all happening at the same time. But for him, there have been 7 years, and it's normal that a person changes in 7 years. So, maybe she wasn't fair in like what she told him. But then he realized that, she was actually right, and he had lost his passion, and she made him remember what he actually wanted. And, he actually changed the restaurants to what he wanted it to be before, kind of. And like, it was fine. Like, I didn't like the romance at all because, first of all, like, they fell in love in a weekend, which is just a thing that doesn't happen. And also, I didn't like the development of the rest of the romance. So I didn't like that. I did, however, kind of like Clementine's journey throughout the book and like discovering what she actually wanted to do with her life. I did enjoy that, but that wasn't, the main focus of the book. So I didn't, love the book as a whole, but it was fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't even like dislike it. It was just okay. It wasn't painful to read like the 2 previous books I read for this video. It was actually fine. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure if I'm gonna give it 2.5 or 3 stars. I am leaning towards 3 because there was a part of it that I did, actually like. So I think it's gonna be 3 stars, but I will leave my final rating at the end of the video. But as I was expecting, this was definitely better for me than the 2 previous books. I did like it more. And if this one had been 600 pages, like Mile High, I probably would have given it 2 stars as well, because I would have been very, very, very bored. But since it was like half the length, just a little over half the length, I think it was 300 and something, I enjoyed it, kind of. It was fine. It was okay. I wasn't, that bored because it wasn't, long enough for me to be extremely bored with the romance. So it was fine. It was okay. I think it's probably going to be 3 stars. And yeah, now we're going to go into the final book, which is Throne of the Fallen. And actually, Throne of the Wicked, that series was already in my TBR, but I haven't read them yet. I do plan on reading them at some point, but I'm apparently gonna start with Throne of the Fallen. And this is like fantasy romance, which I am more excited about than, just romance. And yes, Blood and Sin was fantasy romance, but we don't need to talk about that book anymore. No, thank you. This one I'm actually kind of excited about. So yeah, I'm gonna read, but it is also very, very long, this one. Like, I have the audiobook, and I think it's like 18 or 19 hours long, which is insane. But yeah, I'm still kind of excited for this one. So I am gonna read probably half of it, and I will be back with my thoughts. halfway through Throne of the Fallen, and I am sad to report that I am not liking it. And I did have actually, high hopes for this one. So, I'm actually sad because this was the one that I thought that, if there was one book out of this video that I would enjoy, it would be this one. And it's not. And so we are following Envy, who's one of the princes of Sin, and he is like playing a game to save his falling court. And one of the clues of his game takes him to an artist called Camilla. And he needs her to like paint something, and then they like end up working together because it's also like in her interest to work with him in a way. And there is something like magical, supernatural about her. She doesn't seem to be human. And so yeah, they are like working together. They are like immediately very attracted to each other. And they're going to like the underworld on their mission. And I am really bored because there's really no plot other than like an excuse. Like everything that's happening is like an excuse for the romance or the smut, I guess. And I am bored because I don't care at all. And so like I think I said like before going into this book that it was fantasy romance, probably more romance. Well, it's just really romance with like the fantasy being just, like an excuse for the romance, which is not what I usually enjoy. So it's not really like what I want it to be, because like there's not really like much of a fantasy plot other than, like I said, just what is needed for the romance. So yeah, I'm bored. I don't care. Like I'm not hating it. Like I hated the first book, definitely not. And I'm also not as bored as I was with Mile High. So I mean, it's better than those, but yeah, I don't care. I am a little bored. It's less boring than Mile High because it does still like have that bit of fantasy, but yeah, I'm really sad that I'm not liking it. Actually, I'm very, very sad. I'm very disappointed because like I said, this was the one book that I thought I could enjoy, and I'm not enjoying. So yeah, that is indeed very sad, but that's it. Halfway through, I'm gonna finish it. Hopefully I'll get more interested in it, but yeah, I don't know. I will be back when I finish it, and I'll also be back to like wrap up this whole video. Okay, so I finished our last book, which was Throne of the Fallen, and honestly, I continue to just not really care about anything because they just continued working to save Envy's court, and then we found out that Camilla was in fact not human, she was actually Fae, and we discovered all of the like past and the issues and the hate between Envy and Camilla's father, and how that like created sort of tension. And yeah, like obviously they ended up together. It's a romance book, that shocks no one. And I didn't care really. And like I said, there was really no plot other than what was needed for like the development of the romance. Or I mean, honestly, there was like more smut than like feelings, which I guess makes it more entertaining to me because unlike Mile High, I didn't hate the smut in this one, so it was somewhat entertaining, but also I was mostly bored because I just didn't care about the characters. Like I didn't particularly like either of them, and I didn't care about the plot that was happening, sort of. So yeah, and honestly, like I am very disappointed. I am very sad because I had hopes for this one. Like this was the one that I expected to like the most out of all the books. And I mean, I expected to like actually enjoy this one because it was already on my radar. I already kind of wanted to read this book, or at least like books in this world. And so, yeah, I am definitely very sad with this outcome. And I mean, I didn't hate it, but I definitely didn't really like it either. I think I'm gonna give it 2.5 stars, which is just like right in the middle, because that's what I feel about it. There was nothing that I really liked, but there was also like I didn't hate it. So, yeah, 2.5 stars sounds about right. And yeah, those are all of the books that I read for this video. And so for our final ratings for all of the books, so Blood and Sin I gave 1 star, Mile High I gave 2 stars, The 7-Year Slip I gave 3 stars, and it seemed like we were on a upward trajectory, but then apparently we weren't, because like I said, I gave Throne of the Fallen 2.5 stars. And last year was definitely more successful because there was a book that I actually, really liked, and I gave 4 stars too. So, it was obviously more successful in terms of finding like books that I enjoy. But in this one, we had like a really strong reaction to a book. So I guess it was more entertaining than last year, because last year was just meh books and then one that I liked. And in this one, there was one that I despise with every fiber of my being. So, there was that. And in terms of like the average rating for the books in this video, we have 2.125, which I think is the lowest ever in one of these videos. And honestly, I feel like that's true. That rating is probably true for my overall enjoyment of these books. But like the process of filming this video and like reading the books and talking about them, especially the first ones, with my bestie was fun. So like I enjoyed the process. I didn't enjoy the books themselves, but like the process was actually kind of fun. And I definitely do want to keep doing these videos once a year, because and like let my friend choose the books, because even if I don't enjoy the books, I enjoy the process, like I said. And yeah, I will forever make her choose the books, because that way I don't have to choose them myself. And she likes to choose the books, so it's a win-win situation. And yeah, like I said, I surprisingly had fun actually filming this video, even if I didn't love any of the books. And yeah, that is everything for this video. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you have enjoyed it. And if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!